Hi, I'm Dr. Andy. Welcome to The Advisor, the channel everybody loves to hate. And remember, you can believe in equal rights without being a feminist. Now that we've got that out of the way, what should we talk about today? Here's something. Nate Cohn of the New York Times writes an article, Why Trump Had an Edge in the Electoral College. And he notes the fact that apparently the popular vote was almost a 3 million swing in favor of Hillary Rodham Clinton, and the popular vote. So the popular vote went against Mr. Trump, and however, the Electoral College results were 306 Electoral College votes for Mr. Trump, and 232 votes for Mrs. Clinton. Sorry, a little confused here. Okay. Anyway, well, the interesting thing is that in this article, he goes through and talks about reasons why this happened and so on and so forth, and it appears to be quite perplexed. But then there's a line in the article that says, California, Hillary won the state of California by 30%, 4 million votes. Now, if you know a little bit about the state of California, you know that basically almost every single crazy idea that has come out of the left in the last 30 or 40 years, whether it be, putting people in jail for manspreading. Okay, I'm kidding. I don't know that they're actually doing that yet, but I'm sure if they do, the state of California will initiate the policy. But, the university, the rape culture, all of the nonsense about that pretty much every social justice cause that has come out of the aggressive left over the last 30 or 40 years has come out of the state of California. So, the idea that Hillary would win the state of California by a massive number of votes is not exactly a huge surprise for anybody. The left's domination of California, in terms of the politics that have been going on, the identity politics and all of the other things, they're on the forefront of just about every one of those insane ideas that's out there with the social justice warrior crowd. And it's So that's why they have the Electoral College. It's to avoid a regional election, where, basically the state of California turns the rest of the U.S. into a colony of itself because of population issues. If you just go by popular vote, the two polarities, sort of the East Coast, some of the East Coast states, with New York State, for example, California and a few others, would just dominate the whole electoral landscape. And so, which is interesting because basically the left dominates in both those places. So it is true that sometimes, sometimes a candidate that is not left-wing, which I suppose more often than not would tend to be a Republican nominee, is going to, win the White House, and this possibility does exist. It happened with George W. as well. I don't want to get into past issues. It's also swung the other way in the past for different kinds of factors. If you go back far enough, like Grover Cleveland, for example, going back in the 1880s, I think 1888. But at any rate, this type of thing, for them to come around and make that this is some kind of a surprise, it's really not a surprise. And the thing is, if you take California off the table, I'm not saying it's not important, but if you take out the 4 million, you assume Trump's going to lose California. We know that. So what? He loses California, but the 4 million votes, then you take the 3 million vote swing in a popular vote. If you take the 4 million from California away from that, what do you get? You get -1. 3 minus 4 is -1, right? It's -1 million. What does that mean? What it means is that taking California out of the picture, Trump actually won the popular vote and the Electoral College. That seems to be a pretty relevant factor, but of course, that's not discussed at all. So what is this writer going to say? He talks about Sorry, I don't want to flip the page here. I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue. To me, that's a glaringly obvious conclusion anyway, that Trump would be expected to lose California, loses it by a massive amount, not entirely a big surprise. The popular vote, most of that popular vote loss is buried in the state of California. That's where he lost it, not in other parts of the country. But here's the interesting thing is, to me that conclusion is pretty obvious. But here's Mr. Cohen's conclusion. Of course, he's not going to agree with anything that, might have some, first of all, like a semblance of logic to it, but also that might play into the notion that Trump is not some kind of crazy ogre, which is his conclusion does play into that nicely. Of course, here's what he says. Mr. Trump won for a simple reason. The Electoral College's largely winner-take-all design gives a lot of weight to battleground states. Okay, fair enough so far. True enough, I guess, because it's a battleground state and it flips one way. That means it's close, right? It could be won by one party or the other. That's what we call a battleground state, that it's very close going into the election. So it could go either way. And so, a few votes could turn it. 15, 20,000 votes one way, what have you, can turn the state. So that's what they're talking when they say battleground state. But then he says, so that's okay to say that, the winner-take-all system, of course, yes, because, you win by 1,000 votes, you take all the Electoral College votes in most states. Yes, certainly, that does weight battleground states. So that's correct. But listen to what he says now. This is wonderful. Listen to this. It's not wonderful, but anyway. Mr. Trump is an advantage in battleground states because most are whiter and less educated than the country as a whole. Isn't that beautiful? Most are whiter. I mean, so this is playing back into the idea that, which is actually already proven false. And if you want to look at it, you can go to Trump 2016, The Real Story, check my other video out. But the fact of the matter is the white voter, it was a 1%, 1%. Okay, there was Trump picked up something like 1% more than Romney did of the white voter. It wasn't that big of a swing. It's the swings that matter when you start talking about these elections, the demographic changes in terms of which way the votes go. So it's not an issue, okay? And he got votes from minorities, all of the minorities. Now, I'm not going to go back through this. Look at the other video. But this is basically patently false, first of all. But the other thing that when he says is that less educated. Oh my God. So what are they doing? Counting master's degrees, counting BAs, counting what? Counting community college? How do you determine less or more educated? That's very interesting. What about if somebody okay, I'll give you an example. My father didn't, I don't believe he actually finished high school. Okay. But, and then he ran a store for himself for a number of years. He went into the military. He was leading aircraft in the Royal Air Force. My father was a very intelligent man. His intelligence was not based on learning in a school, just as many people's intelligence are not. So you're going to tell me that somebody that, goes through grade 12 and maybe if their parents are on a farm or something, and so they go out and they learn about farming, how to run a farm and so on. Maybe they go back and take some high school classes, but never finish a degree. So what? They're stupid? It's more of the elitism, the absolute blatant elitism of the left and the New York Times, I'm sorry, has become a left-wing rag, basically. And so, this narrative that they have of just, the idiots voted for Trump. But that's basically all they, that's just keep playing the same tape over and over and over. And eventually everybody's going to believe it. Well, you know what? People are not going to believe it. It's just garbage, okay? It's not true, okay? I don't really care if farmers voted for Trump or if somebody with a college, not a college education, but a community college education or ran their own business out of a garage or something, hello, Bill Gates, I think, but Bill Gates dropped out of MIT or Yale, I'm not sure, one of those guys. I think both Gates and freaking Jobs didn't finish as far as I know. Those guys are really stupid. Of course, they're both dumb, right? Give me a freaking break. Unbelievable. The regressive left, they just never, the insanity never stops, folks. Anyway, I'd like to hear your comments, like to hear what your thoughts are. Please, if you liked the video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, interact, talk to me. It's all terrific, and thanks for listening. Blessings. The Advisor, checking out.